between John Lewis Day and Brother Rick preaching and showing videos, this is the first time I've preached in 4 weeks. It's been like having a holiday, like not having to do a term paper for a couple of weeks. Which, by the way, that's what preaching is like, doing a term paper every week for the rest of your life. Like, you know what it is going in. Well, no, you don't. It's like marriage. We live in our culture by certain fundamental assumptions, okay? We all simply accept them as true. They're not bad assumptions. They kind of make sense, but I'm going to call you to something different, to hear something a little disturbing. The assumption is that progress is always good, having stuff is better, it is the nature of finances to grow, and we want the Dow Jones to grow. And if you say anything else, either from a classroom or from a pulpit, you are either stupid, unpatriotic, or heretical. And I may be all three, or neither, or none of the above, but I want to challenge you with a different kind of teaching. And I want to do something which violates the cardinal rule of preaching. And the cardinal rule of preaching that I learned 101 is you never take the gospel and paraphrase it in your own words. This is what Jesus meant to say. However, this is what Jesus meant to say. So, use your imagination, lock yourself in, and hear the words just as real, different context. Very popular peasant preacher, which you cannot say 3 times fast, is wandering about, and he's got a group of people around him. And then this nice, hot, red Mercedes convertible comes up, stops. This guy gets out. He's young. He obviously has a lot of money. He runs up to the preacher, and you can tell that this guy is doing well. I mean, he's got a $1,500 Armani suit. He's got the Gucci loafers, the Rolex. He's got the iPhone in his back pocket, the iPad under his arms. If he's wearing any kind of jewelry, he's already got the Mr. T starter set. And he says, respectfully, you know, good man, what do I have to do to live forever? No one has ever posed that question to me, although it is probably the most important question you will ever ask yourselves. What do I have to do to live? So, what does Jesus do? He gives a typical Sunday school teacher answer. He turns around and says, well, look, all you got to do is follow the commandments. You know them. They weren't beaten into you by the nuns. You know that. And the guy says, well, yeah, I do know all that stuff. I mean, I do go to church a lot, sometimes. I work hard. I basically keep myself clean. Look, I bought my parents a luxury condo in Florida. I've never robbed a liquor store. I've never fooled around with anyone else's wife, which, by the way, the head coach of the New York Knicks cannot say. But more to the point, even with all that, I feel empty. There's something in me that's broken. I don't know what it is, and I need you to fix it. So Jesus turns to him with love. That's a phrase. I accented that phrase when I read the gospel. Cared about it and said, look, now that you mention it, there's something you can do where you will find what you're looking for. And in your case, this is what it means. You see all this stuff that you have, all this stuff that you think is important in your life, you got to get rid of it. Because it's getting in the way between you and what's really important. And of course, what happens? He walks away. He can't hear it. He doesn't want to hear it. And I'm not going to condemn him, because I don't know if any of us would have done anything different. It's a slap up the side of the head kind of story. The question is, who can do this? Who passes through the eye of the needle? And by the way, back in the 70s, it was very much in God. Archaeologically, they found one of the entrances to the city of Jerusalem. It was a gate which was referred to as the eye of the needle. That's what it was called. So the notion of a camel going through the eye of the needle, well, Jesus didn't really want it to be hard. He was just telling people it's kind of difficult to get the camel's head to go through the gate into the city. No, that's not what this is about at all. You don't get the reaction you get from the crowd around you unless he said quite literally, unless you take this 15-foot animal and stick it through a sewing needle's eye. That's the point he's making, the absolute sheer ludicrous impossibility. He gives him a very tough answer framed in gentleness. This is the fellow who could have been the 13th apostle, and he walked away from greatness. And I'm not about condemning him because he was rich, and I'm not trying to make you or me or him feel guilty. But I do remind you of this. He's the one who initiated the conversation. He's the one who came to Jesus and said, What do I need to do to fix it in what's broken? Somebody comes to you for advice. What is the most frustrating experience if you give them your advice and they just walk away from you? When you wear one of these things, okay, this happens a lot in my world. And in my world, people are your friends until you tell them something they don't want to hear, then they hate you. And I'm not saying that to be cruel, I'm just saying that is the world I live in. So many times people want you to verify and to validate what they are feeling, they are experiencing. If you really want to know what I feel, really honestly believe, then ask me. If you don't want to know, don't ask me. And how many times have you had that experience with people, family members or friends? They ask you something, you tell them the truth, and they hate you for it. And that's what's going on here. That's the dynamic. The situation is as pathetic as the person. You see the raging river, and they're stuck on the car, and the helicopter comes lowering the basket for them to get in, and they won't get in. They have to do it their way. So what does all this mean to us? Well, I look at the answer, and I've got a number of attorneys in the crowd, so I'm going to, you don't have to laugh at that. That was just an observation. I'm not making fun of it. I didn't expect you to laugh there. The first response, the guy comes to Jesus, asks him a question. Jesus says, look, you know the commandments. And he rattles off a list of them, okay? As I tell my canon law class, my very first class, the most important thing you will do as an attorney for the church is not only to read the words that are there, but you must read the words that are not there. You who are attorneys know what I'm talking about. What does the text not say? What's not mentioned that may be equally important? Well, Congregation of St. John's gave a list of commandments. What were the words that were not there? Look at it. You got the gospel in front of you. Come on. Look at it. Jesus said, you know the commandment, you shall not murder. Kathy, yell it out. You don't have to raise your hand. It's not a class.
I don't know, I'm guessing no idols besides Lord God.
I am the Lord your God. You shall not have any other God but me. Thank you. Number one, right off the top. Jesus doesn't mention it because he wants the guy to connect the dots himself. You know the commandments. They're all about our relationship with other people. But here, something that goes beyond the list. You can't have any other absolute priority in your life other than God alone. And in this particular guy's case, that was his issue. All of the stuff he owed, that was his idol. And we all have idols in our lives. We all have things that are so important to us. And it may not just be the stuff we own. It could be that promotion or that job we have to have, or that relationship we must be in, or being recognized, or being the center of attention, or it's 1,000 different things. And it becomes so important and so consuming, it literally becomes a god in your life. And what Jesus is saying is, if you want to be my follower, whatever it is that gets in the way between me and you, I can't get rid of it for you. I can help you. But you've got to realize this is not your absolute most important priority. You've got to give it up. So my question to all of you is, we put ourselves in this dialogue, in this scene. What are the things that are so important that are in the way between you and God? That's going to be a personal answer for each of you. When I do youth retreats, way back when there was a little thing we used to do with the teenagers, which I always found fascinating response to it. And the scenario went like this. You're in a house, the house is on fire, you can only grab one thing before you flee the house. What will it be? And they can write down their answer. And some of the responses are absolutely fascinating because they're very honest. I'll tell you what they honestly feel and believe. Okay? Secondly, those of us who are adults, I don't think many of you will be surprised. Guess what? The younger sibling never shows up on that list. The things they would agree on. All the years. But it's amazing the things that do show up. Well, what's on your list? What's the most important thing that you are holding on to? And is that the one thing that's keeping